This is the PAX camper, and I'm going to be showing this as a kind of response to a video made by Nathan, because he's got a terrific fiberglass camper, and he brought up 4 points that where it's limited. He used it in a very cold climate, and we watched that video and we made sure to address all of the things that he was talking about. If you come around here, one thing he talks about is having inlets for power or water or anything like that on the side of the camper. Any flat surface where water, snow, ice can accumulate, what's going to happen when you get the freeze-thaw cycle is it's going to melt a little bit, get in the tiniest little capillary, and then it's going to freeze, make that into a bigger hole, and repeat. And eventually you're going to have to caulk and caulk, or you're going to get damage inside your camper. And you see the video here.
One of the biggest things I would look for right off the bat is how many failure points are there and how routine of maintenance do they require. Our routine maintenance for this looks like every couple years going back through and replacing all the caulk.
And you'll notice that we have absolutely no areas where water can just sit. It's gonna, if it melts, it's gonna run off. There's no power and there's no plumbing outlets on the side here. They all come in from underneath the truck bed. He also mentions,
however, right away when we hit negative 15 degrees, we started to have serious issues with our water lines freezing. And that's because this rig just wasn't as well equipped as we initially thought. And let me show you why that is. All right, so we are here at the back of the rig now, and this is kind of the central point where all of my water lines come together. I have all of my low point valves as well as my water pump and my dump valves. So this is kind of the point that's most likely to freeze and break my entire system.
The plumbing in his camper is it's in this kind of an area, and that means that in really cold weather it freezes, the pump freezes, and he talks about what you can do. What we do is we have all the plumbing inside. This guy is 2-inch of insulation here, 4-inch up on the top, so it's super insulated, and that way you're not going to, as long as you're keeping it warm inside, you're not going to have any frozen plumbing. The third thing he mentions.
Okay, so it's easy to look at the initial prices of these things and not calculate in the long-term upkeep and stuff, but especially with a vehicle like this that's a 1-ton diesel, you're going to have to factor in significantly higher maintenance costs. And once mechanics know that you're living on the rig, everything goes through the roof. Things cost so much more than you're going to expect just in routine maintenance, as well as the additional maintenance that you have to do to either support the weight capabilities in case of a truck camper or the towing capabilities. It's really simple stuff, but stuff like my oil changes on this cost 3 to 4 times as much as any other vehicle that I have.
It's expensive to have a large truck, and you have compromises that come into play. This is a small truck camper. The weight is up here, and this means you can use it on an F-150 and still have enough payload so that you can have your family with you and your gear. That saves you an enormous amount, because if you have to get an F-250, an F-350, or larger truck, you're going to be paying for that in maintenance, and also it's just not such a practical truck for driving around. We're doing everything we can to keep the costs down. That includes being able to load it with these Brovie jacks. We can provide it to you with powered or manual jacks on all 4 corners, but they're considerably expensive. And then the fourth thing.
So the next major issue that I'm going to talk about is kind of a combination of the previous two and the first one that you're really going to worry about even if you're not doing any winter camping whatsoever, and that's going to be condensation, all right? Condensation management is something that you're going to see widely talked about in both the van life, truck camper, and RV communities. And that is because if you look around in here, everything is made of either wood, wallpaper, soft materials, fabric, and water will destroy all of this, all right? Water pooling up in spaces that you don't want it to will very quickly deteriorate and destroy these rigs, all right? Managing condensation in a space this tight can be extremely difficult.
Condensation tends to be a really big problem. But if you look inside here, there aren't a lot of soft surfaces that can attract condensation. Obviously, you crack a window. We can put a fan in here, up on top, or over here. We can also put air conditioning in. But the main thing is, these are all hard surfaces, so you're not going to have too much trouble with condensation. Wrapping this up, fuel cost, as in Nathan's rig, where he's using propane, can be really expensive. So an option we provide is a diesel heater mounted there on the back, and diesel is a lot more efficient. Plus, of course, we've got a smaller rig here, so it won't take nearly so much to keep you warm, and it's very well insulated. So take it away, Nathan.
However, the second it became winter and we were running that heat almost nonstop to prevent the lines from freezing, all of a sudden we were going through 3 tanks every 10 days. And aside from the inconvenience of constantly monitoring and switching tanks throughout the day, there is the massive cost of going through that much propane and having to drive to a gas station every week to get all new propane tanks.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Check us out at paxcampers.com. We build these in Maine, and get in touch with me if you'd like to come up and visit. You can learn about all the different options we have, everything from air conditioning that's off-grid or plug-in. You could use a generator in order to power things. There are a lot of options. So shoot me a note in the comments if you're interested in finding out more. Like and subscribe. Thanks.